I'm JD and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be looking at a dial foot soldering machine. Soldering spelled S-O-L-D, not S-A-U-L. A dial foot soldering machine. So you're looking at it right there. And it's called a watchcare.vn. VN is Vietnam. So I bought this from a very nice gentleman in Vietnam. And he said, it says, read instructions before use. Now one thing that I mailed him to see if he could get hold of the instructions for me. But I'm not too worried about it because I looked inside the box and all it really is a big transformer, so with a whole lot of coils in it. So it's a whole lot of power. So I got a 110 going into this beast right now, and it's providing me a whole lot of current, and that's what's going to solder this on. So it has a switch on the side that you can't see right now. I guess I could move it over and have a quick look at it. Right there it is there. Switch on the side, that's an on switch, and it's in the off position right now. There's a plug that just plugs in back here into the machine here, and there's a fuse here, which is important too if you short something out. But in fact, that's what you're doing to solder, is you're shorting it out. But you've got a transformer in there with a lot of coils, so it won't kill your mains. So that's your fuse right there, and your plug going in. This came with a 220 plug, so I thought maybe the transformer was for 220, but actually it seems to work okay. So I asked the gentleman the question whether it makes a difference with this machine. There's enough horsepower in this thing to not really worry about it. So when you get it, you have to sort of screw this in. It's a little alligator clip, and it can move around. It's got a little bit of mobility here, and that's to hold the piece of copper wire that you're going to place down as the dial foot. And then you're going to prepare the material here, the metal here, like this for this too. So it's got this anode, I think it's called, and it screws into the side, so it looks like this. So this just screws in, and you just unscrew it, and screw it back in and tighten it like that. And then I'm not sure what this piece of material is, but this piece of material is like the soldering iron part. Okay, so this makes contact with the metal, and then you've completed the circuit, and there's tons of sparks that happen. And I'm just going to show you this really quickly so you can see the resulting sparks, and then after we're going to just solder on some feet and see what that looks like. So anyway, this is the WatchCare dial foot soldering machine. I just received it in the mail. The other thing here is there's a hole underneath here, just a small hole, and this is just a threaded, it goes down and there's a threaded piece on the end here that's like a screw. And then I put a piece of leather, I cut a piece of leather to be the exact same size as a S16 dial, and then you just tighten that like this down in position when you're ready to go. So you set it up, like I'll show you, and I'll just show you how to set it up. Just hang on a second. Okay, so this is how you set it up. So you've got to, say you have an area here that you want to put a dial foot down on. You make sure that area is really clean, right, nice and clean. And then you grab your material. First of all, you have to flatten the bottom of this material out, because if you don't flatten that out, it's not going to conform as well when you actually solder it. So I'm going to switch hands and just file this down here to file it down to flat really quickly here. See if I can do this really fast so I don't bore you guys to death. Make sure I've got a nice flat surface on that. See, is that flat enough? Yeah, it's pretty much flat enough. Now I also have to make sure that this surface of this is also not at an angle when you're putting the dial foot on, but I don't have a lot of time, so what I'm going to do is I'll just bend it with my fingernail here and make sure it's relatively good. Okay, I don't care for this demonstration whether it's super straight, but so that's not too bad there. And so all you do then is, that's flat enough, I think, is find an area on here that you want to use. Let's just flip this around here. I'm going to go right there. Okay, and you grab the wire with your alligator clip. And why do they call it an alligator clip? Because it looks like an alligator, that's why. So, and then you align this so it's pretty much straight, right, straight up and down. It might take some finagling to make it like that. And in this case here, I'm just going to move the dial over a bit, and we'll just put it on right there. So you can play with this area here just to make sure that it's flat. And so you hold it, you put it down and make sure it's touching. So you got some pressure on that. It's touching. It's relatively horizontal, so it's, or vertical rather. I'm going to bend it a bit and get it a little bit more vertical than it was before. I just want to get on with this. Then I've got this paste, and it's called Chip Quick solder paste. So it's a SN63-PB, that sounds for lead, PB37. No clean T4 solder paste. That's what this is. So you put a bit of paste on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in so you can see this at work. Alright, I've zoomed in a bit on this, and now I'm going to put a little bit of paste on both sides. But I got to make sure I have enough paste so that this works. I'm going to put some paste on this side, and then put some paste on the other side. There, I got a serious amount of paste on there now, and I should have tightened this first before I did that, but I'm going to hold on to this for a second and see if I can tighten it now without making too much of a mess here and screwing this up. So I've got the paste on there. Just take a piece of pegwood and you can spread it around the sides and stuff to make sure it's there nice and good. It's in there good. There. So now you've got it all ready, all set up, and that's going to be where the foot is. That's a foot. So turn it on the side like that. Turn it on here. And once you've done that, this is hot and this is hot. So if you touch this anode or whatever it's called, touch this and this at the same time, you could possibly electrocute yourself. So keep your hands away, and all you really want to do, you can hold the side here because it's kind of a plastic material, and you're touching this till you see it kind of melt, right? So I'm going to watch it and see if it melts for me. There, hopefully that did it. Turn it off. Turn off the power as well, so you got them both off. So now it's not active anymore, and I'm hoping that worked. If it didn't, I have to cut it off, pick another area and try again. So not quite sure if it did or not, but I've been practicing here, so just leave it alone like that, and then I'm going to flick this and see if it's... We're good. We got ourselves a dial foot. So that's it. So all you're doing then is taking a pair of tweezers here, going low like that. Hold the top as you do this, and then just nip it off, nip it in the bud, and there you go. And you can file the top of that after you've taken it off like that. You can file it like this, just to flatten it for the dial foot and prep it properly, right? There we go. So that's nicely flattened off. And now what I want to do also is look at the other side of the dial to make sure that it hasn't hurt the enamel on the other side. So let me just unscrew that and you'll see how that goes in there. So it's pretty simple actually. And turn this upside down like this. And then I've got my piece of leather here. And the leather is actually stuck to the dial itself. And if I look on the other side, the opposite side to here would be right around there. And there's no burning or anything. This is an old dial, so there's still little marks and stuff, but because it's an old dial. But there's no melting of the enamel or anything like that. So it doesn't hurt at all. That's the trick. So it's pretty cool. It works well. I'm going to tell the guy that I got it going, even though he gave me the wrong cord, but I think they're pretty standard cords. I'm going to just take one from one of my guitar amps and we're good to go. So that's it. So keep your fingers away from this anode or whatever the hell it's called, because you'll electrocute yourself. But as you see, there's plenty of excitement when this thing actually works, right? It just zzz, 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 which is kind of fun. So it's a real guy toy. So hopefully the women out there that are watching my channel don't get mad at me because I'm calling it a guy toy. But anything that makes sparks and stuff like that, guys tend to like. So the solder seems to work pretty good. I have no complaints with this solder. It seems to work even though it wasn't refrigerated or anything. It seems to do the job. So I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with this device. Make sure you store it safely. Don't let kids play with this at all, because this is dangerous for kids to play with. I'm just going to put this back together so I can do some more playing, right? I think if I just hold my hand right over the hole like this, like that, and then as I'm doing this, I put this in and then go down, it should be right around where it's supposed to be, right? Look at that. My technique, my kung fu is strong. My kung fu is strong. It's Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee, you're not wearing your uniform. A little bit of Bruce Lee Enter the Dragon there for you. All right, that's it. That's the dial foot soldering machine. It seems to work. It solders the dial foot. So that's the dial foot soldering machine I just showed you. So be very, very careful when you're using something like this, because there's a lot of current going through this thing, and it's like a little miniature electric chair, and you don't want to end up on the other end of the electric chair. It seems to be pretty well made. I looked at the inside of it to see what this thing looked like, and there was a lot of wires all over the place, but they were well shielded and well covered, and and it looked like it was well built. I might have taped a couple of those wires together, but in general it's a well built machine. So pretty impressed. It came right from Vietnam. He shipped it through Great Britain, and it seems to work. So it's all good. So thanks for watching my channel. If you need me to do any work for you, it's jdwatchservice@gmail.com. I'm going to have to use this machine now to fix 2 dial feet for 2 separate watches, and that'll be the end of those watches, and I'll be able to return them. They're all repaired. It just needed 2 dial feet, and I'm kind of an anal guy, so I got to fix it. There you go. So see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit like, it helps, and I'll see you next time.